Indicators of forgery in signatures. These are the signs that you see in a signature that will give you a clue as to whether the signature is forged or not. Many of these have been treated. They've been treated in handwritten examination class. All the principles of handwriting are applicable. The range of writing, the features in the range of writing, like form, movement, and spatial relationship, everything we treated under form, under movement, under spatial relationship, are all applicable when we talk about signature examination. Whatever knowledge that we have acquired during the time we were treating handwritten examination, all the knowledge will be used during signature examination. The indicators are tremor, blunt start and blunt stop, pen lift and hesitation, passion, blobs, speed and pressure, slant. All these are common indicators of forgery, even though we have more than this, but these are the common ones. So we'll be treating this one after the other. The first one we are going to treat is tremor. If you look at your screen, you have a signature, a genuine signature. A normal signature we have is stroke, the lines with a fluid looking line. We have a fluid looking line, that is, all the lines will be smooth and it will seem as if when you have a fluid flowing. That is how a normal genuine signature should be. A normal genuine signature should be. The lines should be fluid looking. Should be fluid looking. That is, the lines will be smooth. But in a non-genuine signature, like the one we see here, look at the lines. Look at the lines. The lines are as if the hand of the writer or the forger was shaking while he was writing it. While he was writing the signature, it was as if his hand was shaking. So that shaking line, that line that looked as if the hand of the writer, the fingers was shaking or the hand was shaking, is what we call tremor. The tremulous lines is an indicator of forgery. It's an indicator of forgery. So because of the fact that the forger will write he will write slowly, because what he's doing is that he's drawing. He's not written that signature right from the brain. It's copying from a book or from another document. So it's more or less a drawing. And when you draw slowly. So the tremulous lines is an indication of slow writing, which is an indication of forgery. So wherever you see tremulous line like this, that one is showing you that you have a red flag of forgery. The only time when you may have tremulous line and may not necessarily be a genuine, that may not necessarily be a forged handwriting, is when the writer is sick. If there's no tremor, then something is wrong. Something is wrong. That signature, that alleged signature must be investigated. Look at the second one. The second one that was forged. The same signature was forged by two people. So that was the first one, and this is the second one. Look at it on the screen. You can see that this one also has a tremulous lines. Even though the tremor is a bit different from the first one. They have tremor. Both of them have tremor. Though the signature of an elderly or ill person may contain tremor, lack of tremor in an aged or ill person may be a red flag to non-genuineness. So you have to be careful when the signature of an aged person or an ill person does not contain tremor. It may be a red flag. Probably the alleged writer is not the one who wrote it. Another indicator of forgery is blunt start and blunt stop. Blunt start and blunt stop. The forger places the pen, the pen point in contact with the paper. When it's finished with a portion thereof, he lifts the pen from the surface. This may cause a noticeable blunt start or ending where the pen was placed in contact with the surface. At times, this contact is held so long that if the pen contains a fluid ink, it will wear the paper and migrate towards or outward from the contact point, or even through to the back of the paper. The tapered appearance of the beginning and endings of letters of genuine signature is as a result of pen moving horizontally before coming in contact with the surface of the paper. So wherever a genuine signature is being written, what really happens is that the pen is already moving horizontally before touching the pen. So the first stroke will be tapered, will be as if the end is sharp and thinner than the rest of the line. And as soon as the whole signature is finished, the writer is finished with the signature, the pen moves. It's still written when it's moving. So it's moving before touching the ground, and after finish written, it's still moving. That is why you see the end of the normal signature, the genuine signature taper, the beginning and the ending we tapered, we have a tapered end. But non genuine signature, as we have it on the board, we have blunt stop and blunt start and blunt stop, because the forger will have to place his pen on the paper first and look at the signature where he want to copy from. During the process, the pen might have dropped a drop of ink, which will make the beginning of the stroke to be thick. So the end and the beginning and the end will be thick. That will be blunt. You have blunt start and blunt ending. Blunt start and blunt ending. You have it. Look at the screen. So blunt start and blunt ending is an indicator of non-genuine signature. A genuine signature we have tapered start and tapered ending. Another indicator of forgery in signature is pen lift and hesitation. Pen lift and hesitation. And this is occasion when the pen stops at an unusual point in the writing, perhaps where a radical change is about to take place, or a new letter formation is about to be started. This may take on the appearance of a small gap in the writing, while where one is not expected. An overlapping of two ink lines where there should be only one continuous line. Look at the screen. Look at the screen here. Look at the screen. Look at this non-genuine signature. If you look at this line, just start from your left hand side and begin to use your eyes to trace it, you get to a stage where you have something like a broken line. You have a gap in the line. The gap is as a result of the writer stop he stopped there just as for him to look at the signature, at the genuine signature where he's copying from, and he lift up his pen. By the time he's putting the pen up, down there again, he has missed the point. So there's a gap between the old line, the former line, and the new line. So the gap line is what we call pen lift. So now, at times, the line may not start in front of the former one, may start beside it, which means that you are going to have is going to have two lines overlapping of two ink lines. So this is also a sign of an indicator of forgery in signature. So if you look at the space between A and the last L, you can see there's a gap there. That's another pen lift. Another one is patching. Another indicator of forgery is patching. Patching happens when the forger discover that an obvious part of the signature, maybe a character in the signature, does not look like the original signature, the model, the one is using as model. So he will like to make amendment, maybe probably a curve line in the original signature, but his own is angled line. So you want to correct it by making sure that another stroke that you cover up the angled line and make it look like a curved line. So in doing so, you have lines, like maybe one line over another one, or two lines that you want to use to cover the inadequacy in the forged signature. So such kind of a thing is known as patching. Or perhaps where you have gap, if you discover there's a gap, for example, and it's trying to amend the gap by putting another line, that line will show that it's trying to make a line to cover up the gap. So that kind of a line that is used to cover a gap is known as a patching. So patching is an indicator of forgery in signature. A blob is a drop of ink. So when you have blobs, that means you have drops of ink. Now, in a non-genuine signature, look at the screen. In a non-genuine signature, because of the fact that the forger is only drawing, so that make him to write slowly, and at the same time stopping at every stage where there is a drastic change. When a new letter is about to form, when the new structure is about to form, it will stop so as to look at the model signature. In doing so, the pen point drop what we call blob. A blob of ink is dropped from the pen. He move further, he stop again to look at the structure where a new structure is to be created. He put his pen down and look. While he's looking, because he stopped, the pen will drop another blob. So you have blobs all over as many times as possible, and this blob of ink is an indicator. It's a good indicator of forgery. Look at the screen. You can see a lot of blobs. There's a blob at the beginning of the stroke, at the beginning of the line. If you move further, you see where the first curve here, you see blob. Then look at the curve down, you see another blob. You see another blob at this curve. Almost at every curve here you see blob, though it is not in every not every non-genuine signature you have as much blob as this one. Some may not have enough like this, and some may not even have at all, because it depends on the forger. Some forger will be placing, I mean, be lifting their pen when they get to a place where they want to look at the structure of the model. So what you may see in their own case is pen lift. So blob is an indicator. A blob is an indicator of forgery. Another indicator of forgery is speed and pressure. Speed and pressure. In forged signature, the pen moves slowly rather than with the dynamic movement associated with most genuine writings. The ink line remains constant in thickness. Look at this. Look at this. Let's compare this one. This genuine signature, if you look at it, you can see that the thickness is not the same all through. The first line here you see is thick, but when the line when the line is still coming down, it's still thick, but by the time it's going up, it's light. It's light. Look at those lines where they are going up, they are light, but when they are coming down, they are thick. So that is when the writer writes with high speed, then you can see that the pen will be the thickness of the lines of the signature will be light. Then at that time the pressure will be low. Look at this not genuine signature, because of the fact that the written was done slowly. You can see that all the lines, all the stroke, the thickness are almost the same. You have thickness of the same, the lines of the same thickness, strokes of the same thickness, all through, because the pressure is the same. There's no emphasis in the upstroke and downstroke. In signature like this, in written, when you are making a stroke, when you are moving a stroke away from yourself, that is upstroke, that is always lighter. But when the stroke is coming down, it's like you are bringing towards yourself. So the pressure is always high, and the thickness of the line will be high. It will be thicker when you are breaking it down, but when you are breaking the stroke down, it will be thicker. But when you are taking the stroke up, that is, you are moving the pen away from yourself, it will be lighter. So you see the pen thinner. You see the pen, the thickness of the pen will be thinner, the line will be lighter, as you have it in this genuine signature. But when you go to the other one, you can see that everything is just of the same thickness. The lines are of the same thickness. Let's go to the second non-genuine signature also. Look at this one. You see everything. The thickness of the lines are all the same, because the pressure is the same, because the thing is being written slowly. So the pressure is the same. So let's move further. Now we have slant. One of those things that is signature, one of those things that a forger may miss out is the slant of the signature. He may copy everything, leaving out the slant of every character there. He may leave that one out, and this one may be a great indicator of forgery in signatures. The slant is the direction in which the characters in the signature lays. Maybe it's leaning, maybe they are leaning towards right, or they are leaning towards left, or they are upright, they are vertical. So this slant is also an indicator of forgery in signature. Another thing we like to discuss is indicators of alcoholism in handwriting or signature. Indicators of alcoholism in handwriting or signature. I told us that every principle that is applicable to handwriting is also applicable to signature. Now let's move further. Indicators of alcoholism in handwriting or signature. The first thing we talk about is inconsistency in the form of repeated letters. There are some letters that may repeat itself inside the written or signature. If it is signature, you may have 2 or 3 repeated form or letters. If it is written like this, you may have more than that. That may you may have more. You may have like 4 or 5 places where a letter repeats itself. Now look at the written on the screen. We have A. We have many A's. This is A, the first A, the second A, the third A, the third A, the fourth, the fifth A, and the sixth A. If you look at all this letter A, you can see their form are not the same. Look at the F also. Look at an F here. Look at another F. Let's look for another. Look at another F. The form of all this F are not the same, and the reason is that the hand is not being controlled totally by the brain. The alcohol has affected the brain, so the brain cannot totally control the fingers, and therefore formation of those letters will be affected. So it's no more regular in formation of all its letters. So the inconsistency in the form of repeated letters will show clearly that something is wrong with the mind of the writer. Then we have meaningless blobs. Just as I said, blobs are the drops of ink. So when you have blobs of ink, when you have blobs, that is drops of ink where they are not supposed to be, at times you may have blobs in some places that may not indicate a forgery. But when you have blobs in places like this, look at this, the N, the blob on the N, letter N in evaluation here, this first word, look at this blob on N. Look at another blob on the crossbar of F. Look at another blob here. These are meaningless blob. These are meaningless blob. They are meaningless because they are not supposed to be there in the first place. There's no reason for all those blobs to be there if the mind of the writer was okay. So because the hand is not being controlled, cannot be controlled totally by the brain, that is why you see him putting his pen down where he's supposed to lift them up. He's just putting the pen down, and trying to do the right thing the right way. But the alcohol in the brain is affecting his judgment. So each time he places his pen on the wrong place, place it on the wrong place, stay for a while the ink drop there. So the blobs are there because the writer was no more in his right sense. So let's move ahead. We have also extraneous strokes. Extraneous strokes are strokes that the writer draw before, beyond normal. Maybe they are too big or they are too long. They were made to stay below the normal line. Like look at this crossbar. This crossbar is abnormal compared to all other teeth. Look at this teeth. But look at this one. It's because the brain cannot control the hand the way it should be. So we have such kind of external stroke. Look at this formation of A among, I mean, this the proportion is not adequate. The proportion of this A with other letters. Also, we have greatly enlarged written. Greatly enlarged written, like we have this A. You have letters that are bigger than normal. Bigger than normal. Write letters that are bigger than normal. This is an indicator of alcoholism. Then you have a uneven baseline. Uneven baseline is also an indicator of alcoholism, when the baseline, where the letters that are supposed to stay on the baseline is below the baseline, or where you have the first line on the baseline and the second line is under the baseline. Then inconsistency in the form of written. Inconsistent in the form of written. Every writer has its own, has a form, has a consistent form for their written. For example, if you consider letter E, if you have letter E like 10 times in the written, you see that the form is the mode of construction, the method of construction will always be the same. Then you have some other letters, maybe V or L, you will always have them the same. But when these forms are not consistent, when the mode of form, when the form is not consistent, then something is wrong. Inconsistency in the form of written is an indication of alcoholism. Then bizarre letter form. Bizarre letter form, especially in signature, where you're supposed to have a moderate letter and the letter is written so big or so small compared to the normal way he writes, then you can be assured that you have an indicator of alcoholism. The new signatures from the same source will not always be identical. Even if if a writer writes 100 times, there will be little differences, between those signatures. And but those differences are not enough to say they are from different writers. The similarities in those signatures will be stronger than the little differences that will be in them. Those little differences is what we call natural variation. So now natural variation occurs in every individual writer. When the mood of a signer can change, can introduce some little difference into his signature. The age can introduce difference, or variation can introduce variation into his signature. Emotional state also, whether the signer is happy or is not happy, can make a little difference to crafting. Then the health can make difference to occur. For example, somebody that is sick, that is ill, may have a little of what we call tremor. And also a drug addict, somebody that has been on drug, his signature will be different from when he had not been on drug. But all the little variation, the natural those variations are not enough to say that this kind of a person, and that the signatures are from different people. They are not enough. So we have more similarities than differences. So when you are analyzing or examining a handwriting of a man that is maybe over 70 years of age, at times we need some of the handwriting that some of his former handwriting or some of his former signatures. So those signatures that he signed while he was 30, 40, 50, you can be rest assured will be different. There will be difference between them and the one he signed while he was in his late 60s, 70 or 80 or 90. They will not be the same. It's just that as you age, there's be variation in your signature, and this is due to your age, because when you are aging, your central nervous system that is controlling your fingers is also aging, so they can't function the way they function when you were still young. Therefore, the way you handle pen, the way your finger moves will not be the same again, even though there still be a lot of similarities that can link all your signatures together, but those variations will be there. The same thing with a writer that is ill. If a writer is seriously ill, especially sickness that can affect the central nervous system, may make the handwriting to change, especially to have tremor, whether little tremor or a strong one. We have tremor. So drug also can affect, whether it is a hard drug or prescription drug, can make a handwriting to change. So we are going to stop here today. Or before I stop, let me say something. At times you may need to investigate or examine somebody's handwriting or somebody's signature. Probably it's a student. He came in as a student at 100 level and spent like 4 or 5 years in a school. The handwriting while he was 100 level will not be the same with that of 100 level. There will be differences, especially if that if that person has taken into drug, maybe to hard drug. So the signature or the handwriting will change. Now, even though you can still have similarities between that one and the one that he wrote before he started using drug, but the best thing, if you are going to if you are going to request for his former handwritings or signatures, you have to ask for contemporary one, the one that he wrote, or the one that the signature that he signed around that time. That will make the job easier. Contemporary signature or handwritten around that time that incident occur, it will make it to be very, very easier. It will make the job to be easier. So we are going to stop here. Please log into the class. If you have any question, send your question and we treat the question so that everybody will benefit from it. Bye bye till next class on Tuesday.